We're going to jump right in. I got to tell you, Project CAP has been brewing for a number of years. Dal and I were at a meeting a couple months ago, and we saw this thing's coming together, and we both got excited about what it could do for our agencies. I want to introduce Marty Agather. He's the Vice President of Client Development for Project CAP and a leading authority in digital marketing. Prior to joining CAP, Marty held senior sales roles in marketing and management for several technology companies, including Applied. When Applied Rating was acquired by MI Assistant, he stepped up to assume leadership of the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for MI. A graduate of the University of Colorado and a degree in economics, Marty also holds industry designations CPCU as well as Associate in Risk Management. Please help me welcome Marty Agather.
Thank you. Do I have a mic? Perfect. Well, good morning, folks. I'm happy to be here with you in South Carolina at the North Carolina Association meeting. I got in yesterday. The weather has been absolutely beautiful, as Tim mentioned earlier, so my thanks to Kelly as well. I know there's a number of young agents out there, and I happened to ride in the elevator with a young man from Appalachian State yesterday, and so raise your hand if you're a young agent or thinking about a career in the insurance business. Okay, we got a bunch of you out there. As you heard a little bit from my bio, I started in an independent agency. This is a fantastic career. Please get involved in your association. They do great work on behalf of who we are and the clients we serve. All right, number one. Number two, as you might know, I'm a little bit of a technology guy, and so because of that, I would encourage you, if you have a technology bent, to think about that as well, because some of my longest friends in the industry going back 20, 25 years are people I met in the technology side of insurance. So with that as an introduction, thank you and welcome. As Tim said, Project CAP was brought to you initially by the Big I. I'll skip a longer introduction today. We're a little pressed on time. And we were engaged, having had experience in comparative rating, been involved in insurance agency management systems for many, many years. We were engaged because we really understood the issue, and we're working with clients in doing digital marketing. Digital marketing is nothing more than a fancy term for just all the old kind of marketing we used to do, just using the new tools to make it happen. As we talked to the Big I, ultimately the Big I said, hey, we've got this vision, we've got this problem, we need somebody to help us out with that, and ultimately we were engaged by the Big I. So I come to you today, although I am not directly affiliated with the Big I come to you today on behalf of the Big I. So thank you very much for having me. All right, so the title of this presentation is the point, and while it's helping you understand what the challenges are, it is also about the point, the market share that we continue to lose as an industry against our two primary competitors. Those competitors are captive agency companies, right? State Farm, Allstate, as well as the direct writers, those people who don't really have local representation. They've got big cube farms. The direct writers, Geico, Progressive Direct being the two biggest. And so today we're going to review how did we get here, what strategies and tactics can we employ to move forward and to address that issue, and ultimately what do the solutions look like that we're going to employ, and finally, if we do that, what kind of results can we expect? So how did we get here? This chart shows fairly graphically what's happened to independent agency market share in personal lines over the past half a dozen years. What you can see is we continue to lose market share at a rate between 0.5% and 1/3% a year. 1% of personal lines, the personal lines market in the United States is $240 billion a year. So 1% of that, right, that point we're talking about, represents $2.4 billion in premiums to our insurance company partners and over $260 million in commissions to participants in the independent channel, such as yourselves. And when those dollars go away, typically those dollars don't come back. And so that's the real challenge we have. That money continues to bleed out of our channel. In September of last year, we installed the chairman of the National Big I, Mike Donahoe, in Minnesota. And one of the guest speakers that came in was a marketing expert from a research company, and he actually taught the first course in online marketing in 1999, University of Indiana. Professor James McQuivey works for Forrester Research. He said, if I was sitting in the audience and I was looking at these statistics, I wouldn't really worry about 0.5% a year, 30% market share. It's a 60-year problem. Well, what he told us afterwards at the ACT, Agents Council on Technology meeting was, no, actually this isn't that kind of a problem. Because what happens is we see sort of a steady state loss, and then all of a sudden it drops off a cliff. And as an example of that, I give you the music industry. He specialized in publishing and music. And he said, in 1999, the music industry was $14 billion. Today it's $6 billion, okay? Because the market changed and they didn't understand that. So we need to think about this. This is a problem for today. So when we look at why we're losing market share, it's hard for us to understand why. We understand our value proposition, right? We're a true advocate for the customer. We're not an employee of the insurance agent or insurance company. So therefore, we can talk to the company and fight on behalf of the customer at time of loss. We're local. We offer choice. We've got multiple carriers. If you don't fit carrier A, I can offer you B or C. And we offer fantastic service. Every one of us in this room has a story where we can tell other customers, prospects, about how we helped someone in a critical time of financial need, and we were there because we had done our jobs and made sure that they were protected. And yet the customer still doesn't understand who we are. And primarily the reason for that is because we're not getting our message out. As shopping behaviors change, we need to change our behaviors to match the consumer, right? I have a different slideshow where I talk about, think about the camel trains in the East. They traveled across deserts. Why? Because they had to bring their wares to the consumers at the bazaars. So we need to think about how we bring our products to the consumers. What this slide shows you is that over 75% now of consumers, as of 2010, 75% of consumers are now starting their shopping for personal auto insurance on the web. Now, only about 1/3 of those people actually bind online. So that still provides us with plenty of opportunity to offer advice. But they're starting their searching online, and when they search for us, we don't show up. All right? We don't show up for two primary reasons. Number one is our competition has boatloads of money. Our competition, the top four, Geico, Progressive Direct, State Farm, Allstate, spend $2.4 billion a year in marketing. That's a lot of money. All right? We don't have that kind of budget, obviously, in our agencies and in our carriers combined, so we don't do well in advertising. I tell this story. My parents are now snowbirds. My dad retired from the agency in suburban Chicago to Florida, where he spends the winters, and then he goes to our family vacation home in northern Minnesota. I was up there helping them open the cabin over Memorial Day, and one of my dad's letters was sitting there on the counter. I looked at it. It wasn't a letter. It was the address changed from the postal department. Geico is advertising on his address change form from the U.S. Postal Service, right? So they're spending money to advertise everywhere. So number one, we don't compete in a dollar level. Number two, they've got corporate IT, which is helping them understand the most critical things. So when you get back to your offices, I suggest you do this thing. Search Insurance My Town and find a State Farm guy, and they will show up, right? they will show up on page 1. Insurance My Town. Search insurance next town over and find a different State Farm agent. When you compare the two State Farm agency pages, what you will see is they're virtually identical other than the discussion, the talk about the agent himself. And they're doing that because State Farm Corporate understands how to make them get to page 1. And we don't have time today to talk about it, but you absolutely need to have your agency on page 1 when somebody does a Google search for insurance. And I don't care whether that's personal lines insurance or commercial insurance or a very tight little niche that you specialize in your agency, you need to get to page 1. Why? Because only 22% of consumers will go to page 2. So if you're not on page 1, 78% of consumers don't know you exist, right? So we're not showing up where people look. And finally, we haven't changed the way we market. For too long, we have been working as our own little entities, whether we're carriers or agencies, doing our own thing. We're independent. That's the beauty of the independent channel. But part of the reason that I'm here, and as we talk about this, Trusted Choice is a part of this initiative. The intent is to help us co-brand with Trusted Choice so we begin to get a brand out there that means something, right? So if I stand up here and I say, give me the name of laundry detergent, half of you are going to say Tide, because that's the one that we've been taught to think about. So the concept of Trusted Choice and the logo is not to replace your agency's brand. It's to allow your agency's brand to connect with another component that says this is bigger than just who we are, right? So it's no longer me in my little town. I'm allied with this much bigger thing that people understand the value propositions. And what are those value propositions? We talked about them before. Choice, advocacy, local, and service, right? So we all need to be able to talk about that from the same things. So ultimately, if we can change our behavior, if we can begin to band together, and we won't have a chance today to talk about how we're going to connect everybody up electronically via the portal, but the idea is if we begin to show ourselves together, we can actually become the force that we are, the largest distribution channel for insurance in the industry. But people don't know that today. So, we talk about Project CAP as a cause. And the reason for that is, as Tim mentioned, we have a half a dozen insurance companies who've come together to join with the National Big I to build out this project, to help you become found. It's a local and a national project. So while we are doing things at a national level, that's that portal, right? The Consumer Agent Portal, Project CAP, Consumer Agent Portal, that's what CAP stands for. At a national level, Project CAP is to help connect consumers to our channel, explain our value proposition, and then get them to your agency. At the local level, the effort is for you to understand how to begin to use these powerful new tools that allow your agency to be found and to express your uniqueness, why I should do business with you on the web. So, our objectives are to teach the consumer what our value proposition is, and to help agents understand that power. And ultimately, what we want to do is help agencies and companies learn the tools and the power of the internet and connect consumers and allow them to understand our value proposition. So, to do that, we've developed two different components. Again, we're not going to have a ton of time to talk about this. On one side, we've got our industry industry services component, which is designed to help you folks. On the other side is the consumer portal or website. All right, we'll have a little review of each of those. To help you understand this, and I'm going to go back to my audio guys. I've got video coming up, so let's get that set. And actually, I think I'm going to need you in the back to mouse over and click that to start the video.
This is Acme Insurance. They're just one agency that could be anywhere in America, but they represent all the member agencies of the IIABA. Meet Nate, Kim, Kate, and Jim. They represent 100% of the personal lines consumers that Acme Insurance would like to attract as new clients, and all of them are looking into auto insurance. Nate represents roughly a quarter of today's auto insurance shoppers. He might check the yellow pages when looking for new coverage, but he's most likely to ask friends or family. He reached out to Acme Insurance on the recommendation of his parents. And now that he's a client, he not only has the best coverage and service, but some of the best tools too. Acme has set Nate up with the new Trusted Choice mobile app for his smartphone. It's perfect for keeping track of his personal inventory, contacting his Acme agent, even reporting an accident right from the scene. While Nate found Acme through personal referral, these days almost 75% of auto insurance shoppers are likely to begin their search for coverage online. Like many consumers, Kim goes straight to an online search. She enters keywords in a Google, Bing, or other search engine window, and her results present multiple listings for Acme Insurance. Clicking one takes her to Acme's newly enhanced website. Realizing all this agency has to offer her, Kim contacts them through their click-to-chat feature and soon becomes a new client of Acme Insurance. No one can deny the powerful role that social media plays in our lives today. That's why the first place Kate looks when she needs insurance is her own Facebook page. Asking her friends and searching for companies quickly leads her to the Acme Facebook page. Reviews and fan comments provide real credibility and help move the Acme team to the top of her list. An online client reference puts her over the top. And now Kate is an Acme client too. Based on the buzz he's heard about a different kind of website, Jim heads straight to thenewtrustedchoice.com. Unlike most other sites, thenewtrustedchoice.com not only allows him to compare coverage from multiple insurance companies, but connects him with a local independent agent who can help him find the right coverage at the right price. He requests a quote, receives results, and reviews the profiles of agencies in his neighborhood who provide coverage from the company he prefers. The enhanced profile of Acme Insurance convinces Jim they're a perfect choice, so he clicks the button and schedules an appointment. Nate, Kim, Kate, and Jim. Four very different people representing 100% of today's auto insurance consumers. But all of them found or are served by Acme through today's technology. And all of these online programs are now available through Project CAP. Created through a partnership of the IIABA, Trusted Choice, and key investor carriers, Project CAP is a powerful industry initiative with a vision to recapture personal lines insurance for the independent agency channel. To achieve this goal, Project CAP has designed and developed two incredible integrated resources: an enhanced consumer website, thenewtrustedchoice.com, and an industry services website at projectcapmarketing.com. Here you'll find all the digital marketing tools, training, content, and services every independent agency needs to attract and relate to today's online consumer. But Project CAP does more than just connect us to our consumers. It connects us to each other. It connects us to a cause. The independent agency channel is losing a little more of the personal lines insurance market every year. And every percentage point now equals nearly $2.5 billion in annual net premium, or more than $250 million in agency commissions. That's our point, and that's our cause. Join the cause to recapture personal lines by joining all the other agencies and carriers who've already joined Project CAP. Together, we can regain dominance for the independent agency channel. This is our market, and this is our time.
All right, so what that video was designed to do is to kind of give you an idea of the tools that you can deploy to help reach out to these new consumers. While Project CAP was initially designed to be for personal lines only, because that was the problem that was presented to us, what we have determined is, and what you heard in that video, was that Trusted Choice has agreed to sell the website trustedchoice.com, which is now the consumer website for Trusted Choice, has agreed that to sell that to Project CAP. So now Project CAP represents Trusted Choice, and there are Trusted Choice carriers who sell no personal lines. And so because of that, we need to broaden our scope to look at commercial lines as well. My company has been doing digital marketing for commercial lines companies for about 3.5 years now, and what I can tell you is everything that we're talking about works as well, if not better. Now you might say to yourself, Marty, nobody's going to buy that high-end long-tail liability stuff online with a click of a button. And I'm going to tell you, you are absolutely right. That's not what I'm here to tell you. Okay? Many people aren't going to buy their auto insurance that way. But what they are going to do is they're going to use that tool, the internet, to research and find out who's a player and who they should ignore. And if you take nothing else away from this presentation today, you should be thinking, I need to present my agency in this new medium in a way that allows people to understand what makes me different. If I came into your agency today and sat down across the desk from you and said, tell me why I should buy insurance from your agency, you'd know exactly what to say to me, all of the value that you provide. But if I went online and I tried to find you, and I did find you, would I know why I should buy insurance from you? So think about that as we go through. Industry Services is designed to help you folks figure that out for your agencies, right? So we have 4 components in each of the packages. Online education. So Marty, I don't get this social media stuff. Tell me why I should do it and how to be effective at it. Online education. Number 2, digital tools. So, how many people came to your website last week? Anybody? How long did they stay? When they got there, did they look at more than one page? So one of the things we'll provide to you is a digital dashboard that allows you to understand what's going on. That last email marketing campaign you sent out, did anybody open it? Did anybody click on the links that were inside? Tools that are designed to help you understand what's working for my agency, what's not, okay? And tools to amplify your message. The third thing is pre-written content. One of the big things that the web, Google, the search engines value today is new and updated content. They don't want your website to be stale. If your website hasn't been touched in 6 months, that's a bad thing. If it hasn't been touched in a year, it's a really bad thing, okay? So you need to publish continuous new stuff out all the time. Well, you have to write insurance. So we've got professional writers who are writing things for you. Today we've got over 125 multi-purpose articles ready to go. We've got 25 some email marketing campaigns. We've got over 500 Facebook posts. All right, these are things that are written, not all about insurance, but it's easy ways for you folks to be able to get content, information, value out to your clients. All right, and the last thing is professional services. Those things that you don't necessarily want to or know how to do, we'll do on behalf. No matter which of our products you participate in, you get all 4 of these things, albeit in different quantities, right? As members of the Big I, Trusted Choice participants, you are eligible for a no-cost bronze package, which includes all 4 of these components. So please research that. We're not going to talk about it. And then ultimately, if you decide, hey, you know what, besides making my agency more visible on the web and in social media and better outbound marketing, I also want to participate in this thing called the portal. We'll help you understand how to do that and how to become involved. So our packages are designed as do it yourself or we'll do it for you, and obviously there's a cost differential there. All right, so now switching gears. That was talking about stuff for your agency, right? So that's the piece I call teaching your agency how to fish. This is providing leads to your agency, so kind of switch your hat. Now, the consumer portal is designed to be 100% focused on the consumer experience. So we have to get outside of ourselves as being insurance professionals and think about what's happening as the consumers are out there. One of the challenges we face, quite frankly, is that our competitors are 8 years ahead of us in terms of iterations of how to make easy workflow for consumers, right? Our carriers haven't done that at this point because they've always had you, insurance professionals, to work through that process with a client. So, features that'll be available at the consumer portal: an agent locator. Remember we talked about those State Farm all kind of look the same? Same thing we'll have for your agency. You saw one in the video there. An agency profile page. Any agency that chooses to participate gets a web presence, whether they have a website or not. Is this designed to replace your website? No. But this is another place for people to find out about you. It's actually searchable and can show up in a Google search result as well. Consumer education, just like we're educating agents, we're going to educate consumers. Let's talk about deductibles. Let's talk about what things you should be thinking about when your teenage boy is ready to go out and get his driver's license. And lastly, comparative rating. So this is the piece that's gotten all the buzz in the industry. It's only a minor component, but we believe that when consumers are out there, they are going to want to shop. Actually, J.D. Power just announced, well, it was April of last year now, that for the first time ever, the number of people who were online researching insurance that got a quote went over 50%. So 50% now of people who are researching get a quote online. All right? So the ultimate goal here is to provide exclusive leads to your agency. I said this was consumer focused. The consumer does all their research. If they find value in our channel, they research agencies. And when they select your agency, that lead, that prospect is delivered to your agency and not to anyone else. So this isn't a pharma lead out to 50 guys and the first one to call wins. Right? Well, let's talk about that for a minute. Speed is of the essence. Mike Foy, an agent in central New Hampshire, has, I think, 8 locations. He was testing consumer-facing rating for his vendor, who happens to be the old AMS. They're now called Vertifor now. What they found was that if they called the consumer within 5 minutes of the consumer having been on their website getting a quote, they closed almost 100% of the deals. Why is that? They're shopping, right? They want to solve the problem, get on to the next thing. And we know that we can be competitive in the vast majority of situations. If they waited 2 hours, it was about an 80% close ratio. And if they called the next day, it wasn't worth picking up the phone. So these consumers are shopping in a new way. We need to think about that. All right, so a couple of examples of what the consumer site could look like. I'm going to give you a couple of caveats. These are not finalized. These are not approved. This is just some brainstorming to give you an idea. First thing people say is, wow, Marty, it's orange. Well, we went to Colorado about 2 months ago now for brand camp, right? Insurance brand camp, all about branding your agency. And one of the things we talked about was boring insurance blue. When you go out and look at all these websites, many of them are blue. And if we're going to be different, if we're going to be perceived by the consumer to be different, we need to be different as well. There are a number of positive attributes with this color. It doesn't come out quite here. It's not bright, caution orange. It's more of a warm orange, but we don't have time for that. This is what we call the short form. You can see it all shows up on one page, what we call above the fold, meaning that on a normal monitor, you'll see it all. All right? One thing to note is down below the pictures, although our comparative quoting initially is for auto only, down below the photos we're talking about all lines of insurance. The intent of this is to find multi-line customers. And again, good marketing is as much about attracting the customers you want as it is about telling those customers that don't quite fit your mold to go somewhere else, right? So, targeted on multi-line customers. A different form, long form here, you'd have to scroll to get down to see some stuff. All right, so I'm coming to a close here. If we remember point 3, if we change the way we do business, if we band ourselves together, if we work to explain as a channel who we are, what our value propositions are, if we co-brand with Trusted Choice, okay, we can begin to allow the consumer to see who we are. The final technical piece we didn't really talk about today, but if we link ourselves, and I don't want to get into that because it's a little more technical, if we can link ourselves together, we can win. All right, so if you want to find out how to do more, I would suggest you can come to my website, projectcap.info. That's a non-sales focused site, right? So .info, we just provide that information out to the industry. If you want to find out about my packages, it's projectcapmarketing.com. So just Google Project Cap and you'll find both of those. Obviously, we're here on behalf of your state association. If you're interested in more information like this, you've got a great resource here. George, working with the association, has been certified as one of our certified trainers. So he's going to be in the booth today to talk to you. I'm available at any time. I'm not going to have time for questions today. We are running a little bit late. So ultimately, we believe there's value in you participating in both sides of the equation, but you're not required to do either or any, okay? So if you want to, pick one or the other, or pick both, or pick none. That's purely your agency's decision. And finally, Charles Hilson, a gentleman, African-American gentleman who serves on the Big I's Diversity Task Force. We presented this to the Big I in January at the Diversity Task Force meeting, and Charles Hilson said, he said, these guys, these investors, these carriers are the real heroes in this story because they're the ones who bought into this when it was little more than a good idea, and they put their capital behind it. So if these are your carriers, please thank them, ask them how you can be involved, encourage them. It's possible that your marketing rep may not even know about this, so please say hello. And I think that's me for right now, and I want to get Bobby up here. So Tim? Sure.
So I just want to clarify, as being part of this association, you are trusted choice agents. You have the ability to connect with Marty and his team to use those agency tools. Those are available now, Marty?
They are available now.
And remind us, when do you think the CAP project, as far as functionality, tell us about the time frame that you're expecting for that.
Sure. So now when you say CAP functionality, you're talking about the portal itself. So the portal itself is under development right now. We have chosen two states. They happen to be the two states that all of our investor carriers have write business in. That's Minnesota and Indiana for right now. Those are test states. We are figuring third to fourth quarter of this year to get those up and running. We are actively engaged, and I didn't do a great job of explaining this, and I apologize for being short on time. Even though these are carriers that are investors, right? That just means that they are shareholders in the organization and sit on our board and get to help us make decisions. There are other carriers. We're talking to 70 insurance companies to participate. So insurance companies can be part of this at a participating level, which means they pay nothing to get in for the short term, or they can choose to be in what we call a strategic carrier investor, in which case they can invest money with us, not becoming shareholders, but then turn around and we help you agents on the carrier's behalf. So those are other things that are going on. So to answer your question, we anticipate pilot third to fourth quarter this year. Every state is being offered an opportunity to decide where they want to fit in the mix. Okay, so we're talking with Kelly and your board about how you fit. Do you want to be in early? So we've got what we call our early adopters program. Are there going to be bumps in the road? Yes. We've then got fast followers, and then finally mainstream when your specific state wants to be involved. So, and I could talk for another 2 hours, but I don't want to.
But it's coming.
It is coming, absolutely.
So thank you, Mark.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.